was in the top 3.
Yeah, I was top 3.
With
I was top 3
Kobe and
once.
LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember it was the 2008 Olympics. I wasn't actually on the Olympic team. In China, I was number 5. I was in front of LeBron James. I was in front of LeBron James, D Wade, Yao Ming, in jersey sales in Beijing, and I wasn't even on the team.
got another question for Gilbert.
Let's fire away.
Zero, the craziest thing you ever bought. You go, God, I spent a lot of money in that.
Other than that party?
No, that party was the make my name bigger for that Adidas contract.
Welcome to No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. I'm Mike Botticello. It's a very special show tonight. But before we get into that, here's Gilbert Arenas.
How you guys doing?
Would you agree it's a special show tonight?
Yes.
Why? Because we have the Pump Brothers here. And here, before we do this, fellas, Gil, who's who?
David Dana.
Dana.
It is a coin flip, man. I mean, you tried.
50-50, yeah.
So we're very happy to have you guys here. It's been, like 23 years in the making on this. So to give everybody some backstory here, Gilbert, you got your AAU start. You were put on the map. You were a kid taken out of the Valley, put into the LA scene with the Pump and Run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll never forget his high school coach, Howie Levine, who worked for the LA Dodgers for 30 years, called me up one day and said, hey, there's a kid at our school. You guys should come watch. And I'll never forget going over there, and he was wearing running shoes. And, I kept reading about him, and then I went and watched him. And then I think when he really got a name in the San Fernando Valley is when they played Crenshaw in the playoffs. I think Gilbert blew up, had 40, 50 points.
With running shoes on.
With running shoes. And I just thought the Gilbert Arenas story began. And it was a great journey.
Now I look at, the Valley High School. You had a bunch of just guys on the team, and Gilbert went into Crenshaw that day, and it was the playoff game, and almost beat Crenshaw single hand. I think he had like 50 points.
Yeah.
And then the other one that plateaued him in the world scene was the NIT game that was on ESPN when early season, like the Thanksgiving game, and that's where I think the world started to see Gilbert Arenas, and the seed has been planted.
And I think Gilbert, from the beginning of his career to the end of his career, all the great ones are a little quirky. And we all know Gilbert's a little quirky and he's a little different, but that's what made Gilbert so great. And, I can reflect on so many great stories, but I remember he came in and I was with his dad, Big Gil, and we went to the Laker game, and he had 50 points. And I remember the Laker crowd gave him a standing ovation, and Gil bowed. And this is
60 points.
So 60 points. And so Gilbert has some great moments. There's no question.
But in his mind, like you said, he was a star. In his mind, he was already there. So he was a diamond. He was in the rough. You guys found him in the rough.
Yeah, I think when we played AAU basketball, Gilbert had to go to summer school, and we brought him up to Vegas and so forth, and he played on the Pump and Run team. And
With Mike Dunleavy.
Mike Dunleavy, but I think that gave Gilbert a platform where people around the country got to see him. And, Gilbert was not a top 100 player. And, when he was going to Arizona, originally he was going to go to DePaul University, and I was friends with Pat Kennedy, and Gil was a late bloomer, and Pat Kennedy's mom died, and they canceled the trip. And then Jay John, who was the assistant in Arizona at the time, called and said, hey, we want to bring Gilbert for an official visit. And once Gilbert went there, it was
it was a great fit. It was a guard university. It was a no-brainer. But I want to talk about the greatest party ever. You can have all these Jay-Z and all these great parties. Gilbert Arenas' birthday party I still have the black American Express. For all these young ballers talking about throwing a party, Gilbert flew David and Dana Pump at the Ritz-Carlton in Georgetown. He put all his friends up there, and what a party. It was at Club Love, right?
Yeah.
And who were the performers?
Back then, it was, this is the funny part. So Lil Wayne opened up because he had the smaller name. Then it was Game, Busta Rhyme, and then T.I. finished.
Wow.
And this was 2007.
2000, yep.
And that's when the Maybach was just going, and Gilbert pulled up. Typical Gilbert, at 12 o'clock, pulled up in a Maybach.
Club closed at 2.
Fashionably late.
Club closed at 2.
But also, there were no photos or videos really of this.
Well, it was way before cell phones,
Right.
and it was those camera phones, like Canon phone.
Yeah,
Smartphones
and back
and
then
TikTok,
it was
Instagram
it was
were a
because it was
thing.
invite only, enjoy, a bunch of big wigs. So it was like, let's just keep the media out of it.
I mean, people that knew Gilbert, I think Gilbert, his story, it's, there's some peaks and valleys. And,
Great documentary.
as we're here to say, Gilbert had 3 phenomenal years where he was a top 5 player in the NBA. And then, Gilbert had some issues and so forth. And, we're sitting here today, and hopefully Gilbert could continue to use his platform to, hey, I've made mistakes, but I'm now here to talk about them, and I'm going to do things to use my platform to help people. And I think by him doing this podcast, having people on, because he has a great story.
I mean, I look back, that's when we had the package was just coming out with the NBA, and I would watch your games from LA, I think at 4 o'clock. And Gilbert was like one of the first players after every game would give his uniform to a fan. He was so engaged, a fan favorite. And I disagree with Dave. I think he was maybe the top 2 or 3 players of that time. I mean, his numbers, if you did analytics from that era, I mean, and Gilbert had a woo. When he went to those cities, the ticket sales were huge, especially going back to Golden State, back home, Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento. I mean, it was a wow. I remember when Michael played, and when he would, because those teams didn't come out here a lot. Chicago, I think they came once a year to play, and it was a big deal. And I felt the effect. I remember, it was a big deal for the Pumps to go see Gilbert. When they're younger, our relationship changes when you get in the NBA and all this money and agents and, the girlfriend at the time. But I can honestly say Gilbert has never changed at the Pump Brothers. When we started our foundation, and we know every pro player in the world, Gilbert Arenas was always the first one to support us. My father died. Gilbert was there to support us. So I was so excited to be here with David today and give you some love that you deserve.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
And I think the thing for you guys that's got to be the most special is to discover him and where he came from, and then see where he got to on the biggest stage, into that point of status of one of the best players in the league.
You know what? Like when people say, I just think we gave Gilbert a platform. But, Gilbert, we can give a lot of people a platform, but then Gilbert's got to put the work in and the time in. And, Gilbert did that. And, going to Arizona and having an amazing, freshman year, and he blossomed. You went there 2 years, right?
2 years.
Yeah. And I just think the University of Arizona was another great platform. And to play for the legendary Lute Olson really helped Gilbert. And, I remember Gil played UCLA, USC, and he just went off. And I just think the pump and run double pump platform was the first start, and then him going to Arizona was another great platform. But then, no one really talks about is, Gilbert went in the second round. He had to prove himself
He
all
talks
over.
about it.
He had to
Reminds us.
He
And
had
he
to
didn't get the big money with these guys who were making the first round. So he goes and plays for a good friend of ours, Eric Musselman. And, you know, like most 19-year-old kids, you're very immature. You got money, you know, you got fame, you got women, you know what I'm saying? So he goes to Golden State, but his time per minute was extraordinary. And I remember I went up one time and Eric was on the treadmill and he's like, man, you got to talk to your boy Gil. You got to talk to your boy Gil. So Coach Musselman really stuck with you and believed, you know, and, you know, you had Jason Richardson, you had Murphy.
Yeah, Trey Murphy. So
But wait a minute, talk to Gil about what? You laugh, I know what you're thinking, yeah.
Because we were bumping heads because, like, he's a new coach. You know, like most of young coaches,
He was your age. I mean, he was a young kid.
He was a young, you know, he's a young guy. So the young guy's like, I don't want to put my career with this young guy. I want to put it with veterans and stuff like that. So I remember he brung in Earl Boykins, where he used, you know, they play together in, you know, overseas. So he knew what Earl did. So he was like, well, I can't trust the young kid like that. So at first it was like this little battle, like play me 3 minutes, play me 5 minutes, play me this, you know, and I wasn't really getting my time as a starter. So I was off the rocker. So I was like, all right, well, when I get in, it's just gonna be 1-4 flat. I'm not passing on the ball. So if you're gonna play me 4 minutes, I'm gonna play 4 minutes of 1-4 flat, selfish basketball that y'all can play y'all team. So Eric couldn't talk to me. I was done. I said, I'm out of here. I'm mentally out. I'm playing my own type of basketball. And then that's when they had to, you know, you got to talk to him, keep him.
yeah, but I think Coach Musselman was the first one to believe into Gilbert. And, you know, Gilbert needed a little discipline. He needed a little kick in his ass. And I think when he was with the Warriors, they had 3 really good young players with Troy, Jason Richardson, and Gil. And, you know, they were, for a young age and for young players, they were contributing. And I think Gil's confidence level started going great. So because he was a second rounder, you know, after his second year, if I'm not, second or third
year.
So he became a free agent. And, you know, I knew Ernie Grunfeld, and I go way back with Ernie. And I think the Warriors.
I don't think they could imagine.
The Wizards gave him the keys. And, you know, he played for Eddie Jordan to start his career and so forth. And, you know, Gil had some great times there, and he had some dark days there too.
But what you guys just mentioned was that Musselman believed in him, but you guys believed in him first.
Yeah.
And what he wanted to know from when he said talk to your boy was because you guys knew the potential. And it was like, you have to realize in this moment, you can maximize it if you just focus.
You know, like when we were in Vegas, you know, then you're starting to play against these big name guys. And when we were relevant in the AAU basketball and we had influence, there was no Under Armour team, there was no Nike team. It was the Pumps. So it was, we were picking and choosing our guys. And even with, you think about Mike Dunleavy played 15 years in Gilbert. We never won any major tournaments. But you you look at them, the 2 great guards. And but then, you know, when, you know, I give credit to Dan Fagan. He got a great payday. He goes to the Wizards, and the Wizards are all in. You know, Tommy Shepard, the president of the team, they were all in with Gilbert.
And you know what, Gil, you know, we can sit here and talk about, you know, what went wrong and so forth. But, you know, to sit here and say, you know what, for 3 years you made first team NBA. This is a kid from North Hollywood High School that no one thought he was going to play college basketball, that, you know, was a great, you know, for a 5-year period. And then, you know, Gil had his knee issues, and he had some legal issues, and things went downhill. But, you know, I loved watching Gilbert. He was so exciting. He made some half-court shots, and he was great. And, you know, he wanted the ball at the end of the game because he loved making big shots. And, you know, it was a great joy to see. I would go to the games with Big Gil. We'd fly into there, and Gil would put us on the court. And but, you know, those were some great days.
What was that tournament in Carson?
That was the pump and run tournament at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And, you know, on our team, you know, we Gilbert, and we had, we had a lot of NBA players from Klay Thompson to Mike Dunleavy,
Paul
to James
George.
Harden,
Paul
to
George,
Paul George,
Trevor Ariza.
Trevor Ariza, Nick Young,
Holidays.
the holidays. We had a lot of great, Spencer Dinwiddie and so forth. But
All Valley
Gilbert,
kids.
Yeah, all Valley kids. That's a common
yeah,
thread.
most of them. But Gilbert was right here. He was a San Fernando Valley kid, and the San Fernando Valley's had some great players, and now with the success of Sierra Canyon, but a lot of those kids didn't grow up here. They imported. But Gilbert grew up here, and he used basketball to get where he is today.
Like I used to beef with Richard. I remember Richard because he was like because I was on a pump team. So when they did the All-Star selection, let's say if it was top 20, I was number 20. If it was top 15, I was number 15. If it was top 10, I was 10. So look, the funny part is, it was like, man, you only making it because you on their team. I was like, most likely I'm leading this camp in scoring, but my team kind of sucks right now. But I was getting a little edge in. I was like, yeah, baby.
Are you Richard Jefferson's age?
Nah, he was 1 year older, because I remember when I went to go visit him, he was like, you're the dude at the end of the bitch in every All-Star game. Everybody's asking, how did he make it?
Yeah.
I was like, you got to know the right people, baby.
Relationships.
Yeah, relationships.
Early lesson.
With Gilbert, his attitude now is the same attitude. He didn't care who he played against. He went up there and he gave it his all. And
Kobe was a rookie when you were.
I was a junior in high school still, yeah. Because I remember when he came in, when he broke his hand, I broke mine next week.
I think for you, I don't know if you guys been called pioneers before, but I want to get back to your story and how you pioneered the AAU circuit, especially here in LA. You were just young guys, obviously brothers.
we were young. Our mentor was Sonny Vaquero, who kind of started the whole landscape of the whole grassroots AAU basketball. And Dana and I, there was two of us, and you got to remember in LA there were some great players that didn't make it, like Kenny Bruner and so forth, and
Sam Crawford,
Avondre Jones. So there were some great players, and we ran in a period of time where there were some great players. There were some great players that didn't play for the Pump and Run team.
But we started off with a scouting service, so we were giving information to all the college coaches. Then we started running tournaments, and then we had our Pump and Run team, and then we had exhibition teams. So
Yeah, I remember playing against one.
And for several years, David and I had a great influence, getting guys jobs, hiring search firms. We had a search firm, but we look back. That was a great era. We did a lot of good in basketball, and we've taken those relationships and transferred it to our agency now, and all the things we're doing with our family foundation, with cancer, But I always say it's all about relationships. Mm-hmm. And what's great, when we used to go to an all-star game and it was James or Paul George and Gilbert, I can speak for my brother. We would get a lot of joy out of that because, we might not call Gilbert every day and hang out. We just had a great dinner the other day at Joey's, but I think there's a lot of love. Yeah. At the end of the day, the Pumps were there. And I give Big Gil a lot of credit. Big Gil drove him everywhere, and God, Gilbert, we just had a platform. Gilbert just used that platform and got to Arizona. Then Arizona got to the NBA.
Yeah, it was because back then, you had you guys' program, and then you had the Cavs program, and I played Park League.
Sure did.
I played Park League, and then I played
ARC,
Rich
Yeah.
So to me, that was my world. So when they came in and opened up this whole wait, what is this? It was shocking at first. you got 13-year-olds dunking. Like, what sport is this? This is
Going to Vegas.
yeah, going to Vegas, and so I'm at
Eat anything you want, the buffet.
Like, this is heaven. I go back to school like I'm the man.
Yeah, but like Dana just said, Big Gil gets a lot of credit because Big Gil, worked at UPS. Is that correct? His love and joy was Gil, and he took Gil and so forth, and it's a great story.
Yeah, like unlike parents today, my dad didn't interfere with. He didn't try to control anything. It was like, you got a game at 8 o'clock. Let's go. Go drop me off, watch the game, drive me home. We got a game over here. Because, back then, AAU, we played 6 games in one day. Yeah. And he stayed for all of them, even if he had to miss and cancel stuff. I never missed a game. Even when, get Vegas, he made sure I got to Vegas, made sure they summer school, get your ass back to summer school. And I'm like, we're in the Final Four. What are you talking about? Nope.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to talk to Gilbert about is, the passing of Kobe Bryant. And I know you took that hard. And, Dana and I knew Kobe a little bit. And, I think his passing, and one of the things I've, listened to you and watched some of the things you've said is you want to, use his platform and the way he was doing his training to pass it along to other kids.
Yeah, when the guy I watched from my rookie season all the way to the end, just watching him train, being in the gym when the cameras are not there, watching how hard he went, so we had this connection. So, when we're, both retired, both done, and, he's talking about, give your brain back to the sport. And I'm saying like, I don't want to, I just want to be a parent. And then, you're seeing him coach. And you're thinking, $400-500 million man could be doing anything, but he's sitting here coaching his daughter. Who am I? To sit here and say, I want to be a parent, don't give back. And that's when I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and just, follow in his footsteps. And, he sees something in me that I don't see, so.
Now, can you imagine the father love he's giving to his children? I mean, when I've talked to him, I just bring up his children because that's your joy now in life.
Yeah.
Seeing them play and, the AAU, what team, what high school he's going to go to. And, I just, I've always had love for Gil and his family. And it's great that he's in another part of his life now. I call it like the third period of life.
And I think the common thread there is that family. And what it comes back to is the way you grew up with your dad, and as a coach, coaching your own kid, that's one of the best rewards you can ever have in sports. Also, you're gonna coach your kid better than you're gonna coach other kids because you're connected to them. Mm-hmm. So for players now, after their competitive days are over, you can see why Kobe found that's not only a challenge, because the guy loved challenges, but it's also the best reward I can get from the sport at this point is not only passing the game on, but seeing it in my kids and see, their basketball journey.
No question. I think that's what Gil was started, and hopefully he can continue to do that and give back because someone ahead of him helped him, and now he can help other people.
Game was great to Gil.
Yep.
And to bring it full circle, look at you guys, thinking of that kid, that diamond in the rough that you found in the Valley, to sitting here now talking about him giving back to the game.
Hopefully I can find one in the, in the Valley too and push him on through.
That's what he's looking for too, actually, the next.
I was gonna say, you go all the way around and Adidas still.
So knowing what you guys know and knowing, how you've seen the landscape evolve over the years, what's the advice you would give Gilbert at this point?
I would just continue to use your platform to help people.
I think continue to do good, use his platform, raise some beautiful kids, enjoy life, and I think he needs to get back with the Wizards as an ambassador. The Wizards need him. When I leave here, I can't wait to call Tommy and say, Tommy, with us lockout, you should come out and Gilbert should be part of the Wizards. And that's his legacy, his banner. Gilbert Arenas stay, the Wizards. bobblehead day. Bring him back, and he will enjoy the love those fans will give him when he walks. I guarantee it.
I'm so glad you guys put that out there, because I think of all the organizations in the league, that's one of them that just, they need some stimulation. They need some life there in DC. It's been a while. I mean, I know what they have with John and Brad, like they got a nice core there, but it's just more of that.
This is their
cultural
history.
relevancy.
It's the personalities, you know. It's the personalities that could connect, you know. I talked to John about it. He's like, man, what did you do? He's like, what did you do? He said, I don't care how much I score. Everyone is always like, you're behind Gilbert. He's like, what? I can break all your records. He's like, what did you do? And I just said, it's the relationships outside.
With the fans.
You gotta understand the fans. You gotta understand that, you know, the fans are what retires you. You know, the organization can retire. The fans, you know, being retired in fans' homes, you know, is really what it is. It's a team, so everyone
brings something to the table.
You just got to learn how to adjust to everyone. You know, they did a great job with that. You know, we all adjusted to each other's personality.
But if you don't adjust to it, you'll probably be out.
You're going to be the odd man out. You know, like we all know who the odd man was in our locker room.
On every who? Who's that?
Brother man.
Who's Brother Man?
You just want me to say it.
I'm just saying, I don't know who it is. Who is Brother Man?
Who's that it? See, here you go, man.
See, I didn't know that was Brother Man.
The crowd,
Man, I didn't know.
You want me to say that?
I didn't know.
But this is what we had to deal with right here.
I did not know he
throw
was.
the shots. They want me to say it. They're like,
I didn't know he was the odd man out.
Instigating.
I didn't know he was the odd man out.
Fit it in.
Yeah. He wrote some real nice poetry. He did. I went to some of the events.
So you see, he holds grudges from all time.
Oh, he doesn't forget anything.
I'm dead. Twan, I'm dead serious. Like, you know, before me and Eton got into it, I went to a lot of his events. Me and Jared, we went to some of his poetry events.
It's just the delivery sometimes. Make it seem like it's different than what
he was too probably militant for everyone at that time. You know,
everyone.
Hey, I know Eton's still mobile.
Huh?
There's certain people.
No, what I'm saying, he was
what in that navigator?
Like, you know, like having natural conversation. You know, you always say, "Oh, come on in," and then he'll correct you, "My brother." Now, you know, at 21, 22, what are you talking about? Like, you know, but that's where he was. So it's like it was one of those things where it's like, you know, he started.
But we needed some of that, though.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Every team has its own little factions, whatever you into. So if you into going out, there's a group that wants to go out every night. So if you into playing cards, you got some guys gonna play cards till 4 o'clock in the morning. Video games, whatever it is, you know, then sometimes everybody, I think the one good thing about our team is that we would all have our little different groups, but then we would all come together at times. I remember in Cleveland, like we all came and started watching a football game, and you were there and you hate football. Yeah. Like you never watch football, but you were like, yeah, I felt like I had to come because everybody else was coming because you want to be a part of the team. So our team definitely had some weird moments, some differences, some fights, some crazy things happen, but at the same time, we had a lot of guys that really liked each other, cared for each other, still friends to this day, and we would always come together as one. And then we had some good times on that basketball court. We just kept running into that guy in Cleveland, man. It's hard to beat that guy in Cleveland with a headband.
And I think there's two very rare ingredients, not only his basketball IQ, I think, which is something that probably caught your guys' attention all those years ago, but also, like you said, he's quirky. So quirky in the sense of that can connect to people, you know, and you can handle a lot of responsibility. You can handle the fan attention and use it, you know, as fuel. So to see that, like, that's what teams need to build off of, is the component. You got to be able to take care of business on the floor, but also be a leader, you know, in the organization.
Yeah, you know, like going back to the organizations, like like I try to mention that what the game misses in sports is they miss the greatness that comes through. You don't bring it back. Like, you know, Google's gonna have the smartest brains, you know, in the computer world in their house. When it comes to sports, you know, the Scottie Pippins, the Gary Paytons, the me's, you don't have them back in there teaching your young stars where they fail. Don't do this. don't do that, move this way, train this way. You got somebody who averaged 2 points, he can't really tell you much about how to look at the game. He can only see it from his vision, not the guy who averaged 30. Like when Bill got snubbed, I knew what to say to him to get him going. Like, you know how you feel at home right now? Let that burn dictate the rest of your career. And then I said, you use that to never feel that way again. You train so you never, how you feel right now, never feel it again. So if you were shooting 300 shots, now you know to shoot 800 shots a day. Make it burn, and then he goes out there, 40, 50, 40, 50, 50, 40. Yeah. I said, that's what that guy who's been there before can tell you and teach you. You know what I mean? Someone who's just, Bill, maybe next year. No, that's not next year we talk about. You got to finish this year off to let them know what you meant to them. And I say that's what the game is missing, is the guys who can really put, like Scottie Pippen teaching Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and them, his techniques of what he did back then. That helps, your organization and those players who's trying to learn.
So one of the questions is, now it's different, but when Gilbert was playing, most players wore high top. Gilbert was one of the first stars of his generation to always wear low tops. And what was the reason you always loved low tops?
It started off because, during school, when it's basketball season, like if you had a big foot, everyone tied it was goofy, everyone tied their shoes and it made it look really big. So I was like, I don't want basketball shoes. I just want running shoes so I can look cool. And I remember we were playing in outside at lunch, and I was actually balling, jumping higher, felt faster. So that's when I kept ordering. I don't want the basketball joints. Just give me all running shoes and I'm gonna play in them. And then that became the legacy, just playing in running shoes. I just seemed fat. I just seemed faster. I didn't have to worry about spraining my ankles. Like, I'm just running straight. The running shoes run. Okay.
At the end of the day, Gilbert, are you a wizard or are you a wildcat?
Wizard.
Love that.
Like, I'm a wizard. Even with a wildcat, I'm a Lute Olson guy.
Yeah.
When Lute Olson stopped coaching, I still represent U of A, but I'm a Lute Olson guy. You know what I mean? I'm the loyalty to the people who are loyal to me.
Gilbert, when do you think it's time to go back to Washington? And because all these kids grew up with you, are adults now, and I think your love from Washington would be amazing. And I think it's time. Everyone in life gets second, third opportunities. And,
get Tommy Shepard on this.
Yeah.
So I talked to Tommy. We talk a bunch. We talked about 2 weeks ago. I remember I did the story about Ernie Grunfeld, and I was like, I can't say anything bad about the guy. I mean, no matter how I ended, it has nothing to do with our relationship. We did, it was like we did 99 things right. Though I can't argue about the one thing I did wrong. I'm not young anymore, so I understood that. Same thing with Tommy. It was like, we had our good days. It's your turn. You have to make the right decision for the organization. What moves you're gonna make. There's some tough decisions you gotta make within your organization anyway coming up. The talk's just going. I think it was more on me. They thought, I think they think I still disliked him, but send me my shorts. I still get my package of shorts and jerseys.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, because so many kids, is both Dan and I growing up, and it's funny, like Jamal Wilkes, Magic, James, I'm friends with all of them, but I grew up, those were my child heroes, and I think Gil has so many kids.
His fan base is tremendous, and it's time.
In that DC area,
It's time to get back.
And what you talk about was you were more than just a ball player, you were an attraction, and sold tickets and a personality that kids were fans of just because of your personality.
Yeah, it was the personality that's an NBA player who actually talks to us. He'd sit down and talk and give us jerseys and do this, and it wasn't he made it now. I remember, was it the Shaq and David Robinson story? Shaq goes up to David Robinson, can I get an autograph? And he tells him no. I was like, you never know who that person's gonna be in life. So, you know, you got a minute, 2 minutes, just do what you gotta do. And
So at the time, Kobe leaves Adidas to go to Nike. Gilbert is the face of Adidas basketball, and it has the ability and selling shoes globally.
And early on, because of my friendship with Adidas, you know, they threw Gil a bone, but you know, Gil, little fish become big fish, and I think Gil, because he was so quirky, and he had such a fan base, and he was big on social media early on, that you know he had a great attraction, and so you know.
yeah,
like I
this was before, because you know you had T-Mac, who was basically #1 in shoe selling, and then I'm just creeping because it was like I remember one of my shoes outsold T-Mac in China, which never happened. So I went 1, he went 2. Yeah, so I remember I was negotiating, and because I was with them for $500,000, so that was my contract. So we were, I was like, if they offer me 2, I'm taking it. $2 million a year, I'm taking it. So I was on a $500,000 contract. So I was trying to get $2 million. So I remember trying to negotiate. I was like, listen, I'm gonna go in there, whatever number they throw out, I'm gonna pretend it's horrible, and I'm gonna walk out, follow my lead. Because it was me, Paisley, and my dad at the time. So we didn't have Dan to do what Dan does. So I said, that's what we're gonna do. I don't give a shit what number they do not break. We're gonna leave, and then we're gonna go from there. So they start off, and they were like, all right, we think you deserve $4 million. And they're kicking me under the table, and I'm like, get up, we're gonna walk out. So we get up, walk out, and I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, that was the plan. We're gonna walk out, and we're gonna pretend that wasn't enough. And I was like, they doubled it, what the hell's going on? So I go back to my room, and I'm like, what did I just do? We're in Vegas, I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? I think I messed this one up. And then Zach came in and said, listen, what's up, how much you want? And I was like, $5 million. He was like, deal. I was like, really? Wow. Really? I was like, how many years? He was like, how many years you need? 8. Like, I didn't know how to negotiate. I'm just throwing out shit. I was like, 5, 8. He was like, all right, deal.
Wow.
Okay, deal.
Wow.
As soon as he left, I'm like,
Big.
I know.
Big.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was going in there. I was happy with $2 million a year for 4 years? I didn't know what the.
That's
You
great.
know, because I don't see myself with T-Mac and all of them. You know, I'm making $500,000 with unlimited gear. That's fine with me. You know, so $2 million with unlimited gear is even better.
And you guys know this, players don't necessarily think like that. They don't necessarily know their value on the market. And
Yeah,
that's-
but I think Gilbert proved because he was selling shoes, and not a lot of players in the NBA move shoes.
And I bet you his jersey at one time was in the top 3
Yeah, I was top 3.
with
I was
Kobe
top 3
and
once.
LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember it was the 2008 Olympics. I wasn't actually on the Olympic team. In China, I was number 5. I was in front of LeBron James. I was in front of LeBron James, D Wade, Yao Ming. In jersey sales in Beijing. And I wasn't even on the team.
got another question for Gilbert.
Let's fire away.
Zero, the craziest thing you ever bought, and you go, God, I spent a lot of money in that.
Other than that party?
No, that party was the make my name bigger for that
Well, you
Adidas
had
contract.
You had a
That
fish
Adidas
tank.
contract.
You had a very expensive fish tank. The fish were expensive. Give me the craziest thing. $1 million pool?
Probably, well, it was the pool and wall. So I built I built this wall, $400,000 stoned wall to keep people out, but I didn't have any neighbors. So it was just a dumb purchase. It was just one of those dumb purchases that I just didn't. That one deal that I'm mad I didn't do, my biggest regret was Tito's Liquor. Wow. Tito's Vodka. The guy came, reached out to me, and wanted me to be an investor and market his brand. Told me it's distilled 7 times, sent me a bunch of it. I gave it to teammates, but that part I didn't drink. So because I didn't drink and, the brands, athletes and liquor didn't seem like it went at that time. So it was more like, vitamin water, Gatorade, those type of
You were
family.
early with vitamin
Yeah.
water.
So it was like family-friendly stuff. So, having this vodka brand, I didn't see it. So I was like, I'm gonna pass on it and Tito's. Yeah.
Where were you guys for that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really. I want to get out on this. I got something for you. We do one for the road. And we always talk about the best players in the league come from LA. It's no coincidence. We know why. As pioneers of the LA landscape, why do you think the best players are from LA?
The talent here is unbelievable. The competition.
Population.
And California is, with all the private schools now here, from Mater Dei to Sierra Canyon, there's great schools and great coaches. And
Well, Klay Thompson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, probably the 3 of the top 10 players are from Los Angeles area.
James Harden.
James Harden, excuse me.
Russell
Stop it.
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
That's what I'm saying.
My bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Russell
saying.
Yeah.
That's the All-Star, but remember, that's the All-Star game. That's the Olympic team. You got Love.
yeah, you got Tyson Chandler. You got, the Holidays.
Yeah, you got, but that's what I'm saying.
Holidays.
You got the Holiday boys, because we can play all year round.
Yeah.
We can play all year
Weather,
round. We're
yeah.
playing in gyms, we don't play outside. We play in gyms.
Spencer Dewey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our fundamentals, we're
Ariza.
fundamentals, yeah. And then you still got
Nick
the
Young,
you got the
Jordan Farmer.
and that's just my group. That's me. We're not even talking about the Baron
next
Davis,
wave
Paul
coming.
Pierce,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tayshaun Prince. You're not even talking about the LA kids. Like it's it's just the basketball here is we're all around. We have the all around game. Shoot, we rarely have guys who come from here who can't shoot. Most of our guys are shooters. We're athletic. We have the skill. We have the finesse. Type of game versus East Coast, they're dribblers. They can't shoot. Versus, Chicago, jumping beans. So we're balanced. That's what it is. We're more balanced.
We wanted to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
We will give you the final
Balanced.
say on it. Balance it is.
We're balanced.
Thanks again, Gil. Thank you.
Pump Brothers, we want to thank you guys for coming on. This was a long time in the works and definitely worth the wait.
I'd like to know from you guys, how would Gilbert Arenas think his career would have been if he would have never have gotten injured?
Well, if I didn't get injured, I have to gauge my style versus the styles that's in now. So somewhere along what Dame Leonard is doing and Harden, so I possibly could have, led the league in scoring. I'm sure I would have led the league in scoring at one point. MVP is off of, team stats. So, depending on what the team would have looked like at that moment in time, probably could have pulled one of those out. But for sure, I would have pulled out scoring champ. I would have had one of those.
And who are the best X's and O's coaches that he's played for in the NBA and that he's played against?
The best X's and O's coach I played for would have to be, of course, Eddie Jordan. He had the Princeton style where everyone is, everyone has to think, everyone's equal opportunity, reaction. It's, reaction technique. I'll say Musselman because, he started my 1-4 flat, career in the NBA where when He's seen there was real mismatches as he actually went to him. Stan Van Gundy had great X's and O's out of bounds. I mean, off of timeouts and out of bounds, he had great plays that he drew up that actually was successful. So the coaches I played for, those would be the three that I can, think off top that they were great. Now, great X's and O's coaches that I played against would be, of course, Pop. He had great plays. Phil Jackson and, the triangle, obviously was great. Well, I was gonna say Sacramento, but that was also Eddie Jordan's offense up there. Oh, I don't know who was and I can't think of who was coaching at the time, but Atlanta, when Joe Johnson was there, I mean, the plays Joe Johnson had as a two guard was amazing. I don't know what coach that was at that time, but I think it was Lenny, but I'm not sure. But he had great plays. It was backdoors, cut, flare screens. I mean, he had some great plays for Joe Johnson.
Who would he have liked to have played for?
The coach I would have liked to play for would have, you know what? I can't even do that. I mean, I like the coaches I had. They believed in my talent. They let me be who I am. They let me be who I was. So, to say I would have liked to play for another coach, is disrespectful to the coaches that I actually did play for that I had success with. So I wouldn't have played. I wouldn't have liked to play for anybody else.
And who were the coaches that he learned the game from?
Coaches I've learned the game from will be actually every single coach. Every coach is different. Every coach has a different technique, different style, different methods. To be great at anything, you have to pick apart and, put together your own masterpiece from all the coaches you take from. So, I think I learned a lot from all the coaches that I've ever came across. I don't say there's bad coaches. I say there's bad coaches for certain players. All coaches have their favorite player. If you wasn't one of them, in your mind, he was the bad coach. But you just gotta, take what that coach is delivering and then just add it to your perspective.
No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. I'm Mike Botticello. Gilbert Arenas. We'll see you next time.